8 in the Always Sunny in Sayreville League, and it's the injury apocalypse. Everybody's dead. There's no more players. This week we saw a multitude of guys go down with injury, a lot of them for the entire season. Injuries this week include Le'Veon Bell, running back from the Moth, who is done for the season with an MCL. So that's 3 major injuries for the Moth this season. Guy cannot catch a break unless it's to one of his players' ligaments or bones. Steve Smith Sr., not to be confused with Steve Smith Jr., wide receiver from the bootleg crab leg, is out for the season with a torn Achilles. Keenan Allen, wide receiver from the Toddler Fight Club, done for the year with a lacerated spleen. Running back Matt Forte from the Gotham Rogues is down several weeks with, I believe, an MCL, but I'm not 100% sure. Definite lower body injury. Ryan Fitzmagic tore his left thumb ligaments while he was diving when he should have been sliding, and while nobody really, he's on the bench for the Rusty Strombone, but his status definitely affects the status of every Jets skill player. Similarly, running back Kiri Robinson is done for the year with a broken leg, and while I don't believe that he's on anybody's roster, it certainly does have fantasy implications for the other 2 running backs in New Orleans. Reggie Bush tore his ACL, done for the season. Kendall Wright, sprained MCL, done for a couple of weeks. You get the idea. Everybody's dead. So if you still have players that you can start this week, congratulations. 4 of the 5 games this week featured 140-plus point performances in lopsided victories. The only game without a 140-point scorer was the game of the week. The Gotham Rogues beat the bootleg crab leg 125.5 to 121.3 in the closest game of the week, a margin of victory of just 4.2 points. The Rogues were led by the wide receiver tandem of Odell Beckham Jr. and Nuke Hopkins, who scored 41 and 23.4 points respectively. Even with these wide receiver performances, the bootleg crab leg held a slim 1.7 point lead coming out of Sunday's games. Each team still had 1 player left to play on Monday night. The bootleg crab leg had his kicker, and the Gotham Rogues had their tight end left to play. Now, Graham Gano scored 14 points, which, you can't really ask for much more out of your kicker than that. But it just wasn't enough, as Greg Olson scored 19.9 points for the Gotham Rogues to seal the victory on Monday night. Narkowitz came from behind to win a close divisional contest on Monday night, moving to 5-3 and gaining total control of the Porter division. And for that, the Gotham Rogues are this week's hero. Alright, so I mentioned before that there were a number of lopsided victories in the league this week. And I guess that would be the most positive way to describe this next game. But this is the GOAT segment, and there's nothing positive about this one. The Moth lost his game by a score of 144.6 to 78.2. In a week of several blowouts, this 66.4 point margin was by far the worst. The Moth scored the lowest score of the week and the 5th lowest score of the season. 6 of Tom's 9 players scored in single digits. That is never a good time. And yes, in the Big Ben return game, Des Bryant just came back. The Moth, things should have been looking up. And then Le'Veon Bell goes down for the season with the MCL. This guy cannot catch a break. And for that, for the 2nd time this season, and the first and only player to repeat so far, the Moth is this week's GOAT. Alright guys, key matchups. We have 3 games that we're going to be keeping our eye on this week. The first of which features, of course, the 7-1 Rusty Strombone. They take on the 3-5 open slot. Now this is a battle between the league's hottest team. The Rusty Strombone has won 5 in a row, and the coldest team, the open slot, who has lost their last 4 in a row. So you figure something's got to give. The next matchup we'll be featuring is the Porter division leading 5-3 Gotham Rogues taking on the 4-4 Toddler Fight Club. Now this game has huge divisional implications as the Gotham Rogues look to avoid falling back into another tie. And the final matchup we'll be taking a look at is the interdivisional contest between the 5-3 She Gave Me the Crabtrees and the 4-4 Team Blumpkin. Now the Blumpkin is trying to win to keep pace in the division, and the Crabtrees are trying to win to prove that they belong. Alright guys, that's it. Week 8 update over. Remember to set your lineups, and remember that if you ever need anything, your commissioner will be there for you, and I will see you next week where it's always sunny.